talent show where we talk all things talents in Connecticut. And on tonight's show, I'm pleased to have not just a former NVL guy who's been around and now having his first opportunity as a first year head coach with Lyman Hall, but somebody who I saw play against my former high school, which is now closed at Sacred Heart. He went to Wolcott. The name rather is known very, very well. CJ Monroe. CJ, thanks for coming on, man.
Chris, good to finally set this up, man. And looking forward to talking to you tonight. Good to see you, class of 2011.
Always good. Always good. Now, before we talk about your time with Wolcott, I know just in my conversations with various Wolcott players, also I had Coach Bell on and such, and we've mentioned your name. And, I know the Monroe name and Wolcott very, it runs deep. People know the name. So just talk to me about kind of yourself growing up and how football found you.
Yeah, so my father, he was a head coach from 86 to 06. It's funny, a lot of people think that he grew up in the town, but he was from Windsor, went to Central Connecticut, he coached there for a little bit. He was actually at Gilbert Northwest for 2 years as well. He kind of found himself there and made quite a career for himself, 20 years going from phys ed coach, athletic director, and principal. So, it was a great opportunity, did some great things for myself and my family. But, being at Wolcott, I felt like I would have been under his name a little bit. So, I'm kind of paving my own pathway here and, looking forward to the opportunity at Lyman Hall.
As you were growing up, man, was it difficult at times? Because, like you said, your dad made a name for himself. I mean, he coached for so long. When you were growing up, was there times where maybe you wanted to get away from the football side and maybe do something else? Because, like you said, you want to pave your own path.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're around it so much. When you're younger,
Mhm.
you know, uh, your friends are watching cartoons, they're watching SpongeBob, whatever the case might be. And here I'm sitting over with my dad, where he's talking to Coach Jack Hunt, Paul Spoonheimer, Roger Roulette, and I hear him in the background. We're watching film, and it was different. It was very unique having him around. But he taught me so much about the game and about life,
Mm.
working hard, valuing your teammates, everything around it. And yeah, and it's funny. I think going to college, I had an opportunity for football or baseball, and being around football so long. Um, going to baseball and route in college, I realized how much I missed it. So getting back to it and these roots here, being back on, the gridiron and being a part of Lyman Hall, it's very special to me.
Now, to go back to, watching film with your dad, I know everybody is different. Some people can absorb that and really kind of become a better player because of that at a younger age. Some can't because sometimes they just develop later. It happens with everybody. They say that girls develop a lot faster than boys, and that's just how it is. For you to be able to not just hear the film, watch the film, but ask questions to your father or to other various coaches, do you feel like that kind of helped your overall IQ when it comes to football?
Oh, 100%. I think, nowadays you try to take what you learn at a young age and help all the younger athletes that you work with, whether that was my time in Meriden at Platt, time in Newington, and even now, you learn at a young age kind of the ins and outs. You're in the locker room a lot. You're
Mm.
watching film. So I think that's a special part of you from an early age. But you want to take that and help as many other kids and young coaches as you can. So I felt like for sure, I might have been saying some lingo, some verbiage at a young age where my friends are looking at me like, "Hey, man, what's going on? What do you do? You're spending too much time with your dad in that locker room." But it's been nice to have that part and him there and helping me all the way through. And looking forward to helping out all the student athletes going forward.
Talk to me about kind of your years at Wolcott. My recollection of the NVL. I remember Sacred Heart my junior or senior year. I'm forgetting, but they were really really good with Rohan Eiffel, Durasmo,
Uh,
Quincy, who recently passed away. I think it was about a year ago. Rest in peace for him. He was the running back, and I remember just that team: Ortiz, DJ at wide receiver, Coggins. I can go on and on. You
right.
had the Holy Crosses, you had the Ansonias, you had
hmm
the big teams. Just talk to me about your time, man, at Wolcott.
Yeah, I think during that time frame, it was a very competitive league. Ansonia was always at the top of the conference. Holy Cross, Naugatuck, a lot of good competition. We always had a big rival with Watertown as well. But there was a lot of the times when there was four classes, and you take a look, and the NVL was winning, 2 out of the 4 state championships. So it was a very strong league then. There's a lot of guys that I played against that are now coaching around the league now, which is cool to see. It definitely had some great battles, great competitions, and it's great seeing these guys continue to grow the game as coaches now.
You talk about as far as what you did after Wolcott. Where did you go to school? And you said you chose baseball to play.
Yeah. So after Wolcott, I ended up going to Springfield College. My senior year, I went all state football and baseball. So I had a difficult choice to make. And it's funny, a lot of people actually thought that I was going to go to school to play football. And then on the opposite end, when I got out, a lot of people thought my first varsity job would be in baseball. And now it's funny how it comes full circle. And now here I am back on the football field. But, both sports mean so much to me. I've met so many tremendous people, coaches, players throughout those experiences. So both sports have been outstanding to me. And, here we are at Lyman Hall.
What is it with you Springfield guys and being able to just come back to coaching in Connecticut? I mean, Joe Sciola, Watertown guy, my former classmates at St. Paul. There's
Yeah.
there's Ledyard has a coach, Serecchio, he's down there. And you didn't even play football there. And it's like, oh, here's a football coach. Where's he from? Shocker,
Yeah.
Springfield.
Right. Yeah. No, it's just part of the game plan up there. They do such a good job with the courses and the experiences getting you in the classroom. Springfield College, if you're in high school right now, I would strongly advocate to go up to Alden Street for to major in phys ed and health, because it's been a great part of my life, and they do such a tremendous job up there.
Early on, CJ, how was it as far as acclimating to a coach? Because like you were talking about earlier, younger age, you were spitting out probably NFL lingo to freshmen, sophomore, juniors that were like, what is he saying? So was that difficult to kind of know where you were at the time and just understand the players that you have?
Yeah, I think as an educator, as a coach, it's very important to differentiate instruction. You're going to have some players, right, where it's their first, second year, they're just gaining basic knowledge about the game. I think any great coach, right, can adapt to kind of their practice plan, their game plan, and how they implement things in a progression and install as they go. And it takes time. I think if you ask some veteran coaches, you look back and you say, I might have done some different things my first, second, third year now. So I just think a big part of it, right, is growing. You have these experiences that you go through in different spots, different years, different programs, different really sports you might coach as well. And I think using all those lessons that you learn and applying it year in and year out, how can we improve this for the student athlete is really a big part of the entire process.
The amount of coaches that you've been around to get to this point, as far as I think to kind of show you the way. Coach Bruin at Platt. You also had a Wolcott coach who's now at Newington, has been there for some time, who very well,
Right.
for his tutelage. I just think about all of that knowledge, and to know like, okay, this is what you could do. Maybe try this, don't do this, to see where it goes. I feel like that really kind of helped, or will help you rather, now being a first year head coach with Lyman Hall.
100%, Chris. I think, what you try to do is your stops along the way to get to a point like this is really take the positives, things that each coach did well, and then, keep that with you and mold it into your own program. Coach Bruin at Platt, he's extremely intense, but he does such a good job setting those student athletes up with a great opportunity each and every day. He utilizes all his coaches, the resources that he has in the community. Is very active, him and Coach Frederick, on social media to just really promote their program. Do a tremendous job there. And then my time with Coach Pace, extremely detail oriented, extremely organized, had a plan and had a backup plan for the plan. He day in, day out. I respect that so much out of him. His approach to the game, to the week of practice was so important. And our time from Newington, you could see the first couple of years, 3-7, 4-6, and then the COVID year, even after that, 2 back-to-back 7-3 years. So both those guys mean a lot to me. I still talk to them today in separate group chats, but both those guys, awesome coaches.
Now, did Coach Bruin share his grilling skills with you? Because I always see him posting food on Twitter.
You know what? I haven't got the secret recipes yet from him, but I always tease with him that, when he's finally done at Platt, whenever that is, which, I don't see for a long time. He loves it, but I tease him, and Brew's Bakery. That's what he's going to open up after he's after he's done. Because my time teaching with him, he'd come in with some serious treats, man. So yeah, Brew's Bakery is going to get going soon.
And I think that'd be a nice place to be able to open up a nerd into right next to the high school. Why not?
100%, 100%.
Now, your time at Newington, to my recollection, last year I had on two of your wide receivers. One of them was a baseball player. I think it was Josiah Ross.
Yeah.
And the other player was Austin Howe.
Yep. 100. Yep.
I
Yep.
have both of them on because at the time, Newington, you guys were undefeated. You were putting up like, Pac-12, Big 12 numbers, 40, 50-point games.
Right.
Being around that, man, I mean, that had to be something special.
With every coach, he knows or she knows that you need great players, and those two in particular were outstanding. And so many people think that you just turn it on Friday night, but I can't tell you the amount of work those two, Jordan Middlebrook, Shakir Smith, Sam Coltera, Patty Brown, who is back there this year, 30 touchdowns last year as a junior. The attention to detail and the focus that group put in, they're very proud. They should be very proud of the production. We averaged 38, 39 points a game last year offensively. And, it takes the whole coaching staff, the players, and everyone knew their role, and everyone stuck to it. Everyone, did their part to make sure that offense was successful. And we had, like you said, I think three 50-point games, 440-point games. And it was a really fun year with those guys. And, 2 years prior to that, it was a great year as well. Averaged about 32 points per game. And that team went to the playoffs as well. So, they put in the hard work. They did the film studies. They did Wednesday nights. We would stay after wings, pizza. We're watching film with the kids till 7 o'clock. So they earned every part of that. And, we're looking to do some of that at Lyman Hall now.
Now, I don't know as far as how much attention you were getting after the seasons about potential head coaching jobs. I know a lot of times there's a lot that goes into it. There's the family aspect, there's the comfortability aspect, there's travel. There's a lot that goes into it. But for you, what made now the right time to say, hey, I need to take, I love what I've done at my time with Newington, but it's time for me to take this opportunity and to continue my path going forward?
Yeah, Chris, that's a great question because, a lot of times I think people get very comfortable, in their job or in their life, and they're very content. But I think somewhere down the line, they often say to themselves, man, I should have took this opportunity whenever that might have been for them. For me, I just thought it was a time. I'm not getting any younger, right? We're always progressing in our careers, and I was looking for the next challenge for myself. It's always important to me to evaluate kind of at the end of the season, or whether it's a school year, and how's it going, and am I ready for a new challenge. And I felt through the experience that I've been through that it was time. So I looked around the state, and when I saw this opportunity come up, I said, hey, that could be something pretty special over there at Lyman Hall. So I went through the interview process, and Joe Corso, the principal over there, and the athletic director, Steve Baker, from the first time I met him, you could tell the commitment that they had to the football program. They were looking for, a changeover, and, some things as we went through the interview process. We had a lot of common thoughts. So from day one, when I met those two individuals, they've been incredibly supportive throughout this process and the change. And, I'm really looking forward to getting started over there.
I think about, as far as what you can bring to this program, and it's almost like three conferences: the NVL for when you played, CCC where you coached, SEC of now being a first year head coach. You sprinkle that all in, you've seen different styles, both as a player and a coach. I feel like that can just add to what is the ever changing, evolving game that is football.
Yeah, I think along the way, your various stops, I think, you use some of that knowledge of whether a team's a power team, a spread team, a team likes to bring pressure. They like to play a lot of coverage in the back end. And you see all these different teams, you watch film, you talk to coaches, and it's really neat, to use these experiences as you go through, and bring it to where I am today. But, last 6, 7, 8 years of my coaching career have been very unique to see these different styles. And I'm looking forward. We have a young team, but the buy-in is there, and the kids are working extremely hard. So I can't wait for our first game.
What kind of players should I be on the lookout for as far as having potentially on here, or just in general? Because I'm always looking for who's the hot players, who are the ones that are really kind of going to pop this year, and people will be like, wow, I need to remember those names going forward.
Yeah, yeah. When you say that, there's a couple names in my head right now, that come to mind. Cam Pagano, special story. He lost a lot of his junior season due to an ACL tear, but he's worked extremely hard to rehab and get back to the point where he'll be ready for week one. That's definitely a name where he's been working hard, and not only on the field but off the field, and how we as a program want to prepare ourselves and our players. He's done an extremely great job. And another name that I'll tell you is Christian Roman Koenig, a young back. He's going to be a junior this year, but he has a lot of potential. Very special player. He's been working extremely hard. He's very dedicated, and I'm very excited to see what he has to offer for our team this year. But those two guys in particular, have done a nice job for us to this point.
How's it been for you so far, CJ? Going between the hiring process, them being named the head coach, and then just going through the first off season as a head coach, then the first preseason practice, I know just started. OTAs were last week. How has that been for you so far?
Yeah, I think, at some points, you stop and think to yourself, hey, when there's an issue, when there's a problem, you're the guy now. You're not just on the whiteboard and in the film room chalking things up while Coach Pace, Coach Bruin, whoever it may be, is dealing with some other things. So, from an administrative standpoint, there's a little more on your shoulders, from that end. But I love it, Chris. I think the responsibility part, making sure that our athletes or student athletes are in the right positions, both on the field and off the field.
Mm.
Before our practice today, we actually spent time. We had a time management PowerPoint going through some things, how they can use their time during this fall season, because it does, get a little hectic as far as scheduling. So we talked about some of the things they should do, some of the things that maybe they want to stay away from. How to address social media was a big point of that as well today. So preparing, our guys not only for these next 4 years of football, but really lessons that they can take after they graduate is really a major goal for us going forward.
The Herm Edwards education. Think before you hit send.
100%. And that was actually one of our key lines today too.
Another part from Herm Edwards was the Mr. T starter kit with all the bling and all that too.
Yes, yes. Some of our players, they like the bling. I'm not there quite yet, but maybe we'll get there.
Hey, you know what? Maybe you guys can work something out where if something great happens, maybe you got to walk in with like the huge chain, you know.
There we go. I know one of our players, he's got these new cool sunglasses, and we'll see if he could get me around to them. We have a little deal in place, so we'll see if those come on at some point during the year.
Is he pulling a McMahon from the Bears back in '86?
Not quite, but pretty close. Pretty close. Not quite, but pretty close.
That's the first thing I thought of because I saw something on the Bears,
Yes. Yeah.
a couple of days ago on ESPN. That's pretty cool. But I like, Coach, the fact that, and I think the social media thing is huge because we saw it during COVID. It can really help you or it can really hurt you. And I think especially during the season, like you said, focusing on school, big part, student athlete. They're students first, then athletes. You got potential recruitment for players if they want to play in college, or you just have the fact that they're kids. They're going to be on their phones. Everybody's on their phones. But I think, Coach, for you to kind of, do it now and not during the season, that way they have time to digest and be like, hey, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't do that because of, I listened to Coach Monroe and he said this wasn't good or this was good. And he explained why.
Yeah, and so many things, right, for our play, from the freshmen, 13, 14 years old, all the way up to, our seniors, 17, 18 years old. There's a lot of things happening during the school day. on the weekend. So to make sure that they're in great positions, not only physically on the field, but socially and emotionally off the field, it's incredibly important to take care of them, because we're with them for so much of the season. But again, we want to make sure that they're the best going forward in all those phases.
Is there any sort of saying or motto that has been transpiring over the course of the last couple weeks?
Oh man, that's a good question. That's a real good one, Chris. I think a couple things that we've really been focused on is, the acronym WIN. What's important now? That was one. My coach in high school, Coach Russo, that was a big one for us, and something that always stuck with me. Just taking care of whether it's a practice, whether it's a lift, whether it's a film study,
Mhm.
whether it's on the field, just focusing and narrowing down to what's important now. But another one, it's something that this is kind of something that I've created over my short coaching career. This is a philosophy that's important to me, is bring the sauce. And each letter actually stands for something. So, without going too long, for the S is our seniors. I think that our seniors, for your team to have a great year, your seniors got to be great on the field and in the classroom, in the hallways, represent your team, your program the right way. The next one, accountability, right? So having the accountability for yourself, but hold your teammates accountable as well. Make sure that they're doing all the right things to make sure the program is in the best possible place that it can be. The U is our urgency, right? So when you're in class, making sure that you're there to take your notes, to prepare yourself for everything that's coming in that specific class. Urgency on the practice field, from whether it's beginning of practice, middle, or the end. Make sure that we have an urgency to get better in that specific day. The C for compete, right? To make sure that we're competing, getting ourselves better for the team, but also with one another. And then the last one is empower. I think nowadays with your student athletes, you got to make sure that they have a voice in what you're doing as far as the program goes, whether that's in your team, okay, or empower them to use their brand, their social media, their voice, their actions within the community, to make sure that they're doing the right things, but they're also a big part of the community as well. So that's something. Bring the sauce. That's really kind of my part of my coaching philosophy, and something that I'm trying to instill in our players.
I like that. The only thing I could think of now is, are we having steak or are we having burgers? And then is Bruin bringing the rub? I saw that Platt has a rub now.
Well, when we'll see them in a week for our jamboree, so maybe we'll have we'll bring a couple items there, but I'll catch up with Coach Bruin then.
If you can get some of that famous rub, get an extra one for me because I'm making steaks next week too. So,
Well, hey, you're a big pasta guy too. I know you got your pasta there.
how'd you know? How'd you know?
Listen, I know you a little bit, man. I know you got that pasta cooking.
As always,
Yeah,
somehow I don't know how you know, but
yeah, I know. I got you. I got you.
CJ, it's great to be able to have you on. This is a lot of fun. It's great to be able to have somebody who's my age. We graduated the same year, class of 2011. Feel like I'm always
Yeah.
talking to somebody older or younger, but also too that just somebody who I think a lot of people in the state are rooting for, and I can speak for the NVL. I know we're rooting for you too. Obviously, Jaffe from the Rep Am is, Cleveland. Everybody who covers the game is happy when we see NVL guys doing great things. Durasmal doing his thing now with Coach Mulrooney, and the list goes on and on and on. So it's great to see.
Chris, I appreciate that, and all those guys. Big part of the process going forward, and to get where I am today. So I appreciate that, and I'm looking forward to speaking with you soon.
One more question, real quick, because I have to ask you about Wolcott. Any words for Wolcott this upcoming season?
No, just play hard. Coach Bell, he's going to do a great job there. Play hard, trust your coaches, and represent that program the right way.
As you did for many, many years, your father did as when he coached, and you'll be representing Wolcott a little bit, but Lyman Hall comes first. The colors there, but there'll be a little bit of red and white somewhere there, right?
A little bit, but hey, roll Trojans, baby, roll Trojans.
CJ, thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it.
All right, Chris, thank you.
That wrap things up here in the Connecticut Sports Talent Show. So until next time, stay safe. And remember, CT stands for Connecticut Talent. I'm Jerry. Find them all. And do the rest of your day, everybody, and be well.